Morning, Bulldogs. How you guys doing? It's Thursday, April 30th, another chilly, rainy day as we end April. But they say April showers bring May flowers, so hopefully we'll be able to see some of them blooming soon. All right, so our top news stories from both the New York Times and the BBC. Because this is the end of the month, the federal guidelines are supposed to expire as far as social distancing goes, about, not getting in groups and staying so far apart and staying home. As you may have received like a postcard from the president about those a few weeks ago. As this federal guideline transpired, it turns out the president was sort of giving more leeway than to the governors as they requested it. So that's sort of changed. Just because the federal guidelines are set to expire does not mean that they're expiring in New Jersey. New Jersey and this NYC metro area, these guidelines will continue to at least through the middle of May. And we need 14 days of the numbers going down as far as deaths and new cases before those expire. So we'll see what happens. Today is Thursday, which means at 9 o'clock, which is probably now by the time this is posting, the jobless report is expected to add millions, unfortunately, to the unemployment rolls. So we'll see what those numbers come out to be. Thinking of you guys, if your families are affected by all these layoffs and things that are happening, or if they own a business that's suffering. I know my fiance's job laid off almost everyone this week, and that causes so much stress on top of the other frustrations that this virus brings. So I'll be thinking of you guys as this all happens. A really disturbing story out of Brooklyn, that there were these U-Haul trucks outside a funeral parlor, and people that lived there were noticing of a foul odor. So they called the authorities, and they found decomposing bodies in these trucks. The sad truth is there's just not enough room for all these people who are dying in New York City. I read an article from, I believe, the Washington Post 3 or 4 days ago about like some of these other funeral homes in Brooklyn where literally they're just like taking regular rooms and turning on the AC super high and putting bodies on like where people would normally sit because there's just so overwhelmed. So, this virus has so many various different effects on people, and this is just another one of them. Also, you see with this picture here is from Egg Harbor, not too far away from where I grew up and where my family is, because it says that the food lines are a mile long in America's second wealthiest state. And New Jersey, we're second wealthiest state in the country. But that doesn't mean that people are not being affected from these layoffs, from their businesses being affected. And many people are turning to food pantries and other charitable donations of food. If you need access to that, there are numerous ways to find out about it. If you guys need it but can't, let me know. I'll try to pass on the correct links to that. Egg Harbor, you get lots of casino workers that are now out of work with the casinos down. I know my sister-in-law is a manager at one of those casinos, so she's trying to find ways to help her coworkers. It's, like I said, there's so many different layers of stress from this virus. Okay, so the BBC's news, this is like I guess a silver lining of this. And I remember we actually talked about this in school when we were still there about China's pollution numbers, but it says that there's a record fall in CO2 emissions from this lockdown, right? People are not driving, right? I think I filled up my gas in my car twice, and that was just because I need to go to the grocery store every so often since school let out. Usually I had to fill it 2 to 3 times a week from my commute and things like that. So all those people not driving, factories not operating, the article did say, like, they wanted to point out that the group that were putting these numbers said, like, this is still nothing to celebrate about because we have so many people who are dying, but it is what it is. There's an article on Trump, which I did not see in the New York Times. Maybe I had to go through it more, that he thinks that China wants him to lose the re-election. He talked to Reuters news agency yesterday about that and says he will take action against China. What does that mean? Is it continued trade warfare, so to speak? I don't know. Stay tuned and we'll see. Don't forget, there is still an election going on. We haven't spoken much about that since most of the primaries have been postponed, about the talk about mailing in votes instead of going to polling places. Before the year lets out, we'll definitely discuss about that and what possibilities may lie ahead. Another sad story, that a Massachusetts nursing home, 70 veterans there. It's a state-run nursing home for veterans, and they died of the coronavirus. This image below is an image from Yemen in the Middle East. It's about actually spraying disinfectant to try to kill the virus. Does that work? Can you just spray like that over people's heads? I don't know. I guess they know what they're doing. Let's hope anyway, right? And if it's effective, then more power to them. Okay, so today, this is the part everyone fast forwards to, right? What do we have to do today? And I'm probably changing the format of these videos once again, only because I realize, like, people in my surveys ask for more news updates, but then I'm seeing like only like 7 people a day might watch them. And that, I'm not meaning that even for my Block 7 classes, because I have other days where I have like many more kids in classes. So I'm going to try to change them up to be maybe shorter and catchier, or who knows what. But anyway, I digress. Here's today's mission. Today, we're going to learn a little bit about Charles Dickens' Hard Times. Charles Dickens was the British author. He wrote during the times of the Industrial Revolution that we've been learning about. This is a novel. It is satire, so keep that in mind. So that's important. Sorry, I had a notification. Parents are getting upset with some teachers demanding too much work. I hope you don't find my classwork too demanding. If it is, let me know, because it's difficult for some parents right now. Even though I hope your parents need to help you too much. If they do, that's cool. But anyway, I digress. I got a notification, and it's just a constant thing we're all worried about. Anyway, I keep going on these tangents. Hard Times, Charles Dickens. Chapter 2 is called Murdering the Innocents. So, to complain more about online learning, we've been looking at our computer screens and our phones way too much. It's bad for our eyes. It's bad for our brain. It's bad for our psyche. I don't want you to read this whole chapter online. I mean, if you want to, go ahead. So in the directions, you'll see I provided a link where you can read the chapter. If you have access to a printer and you want to print it out and read at some point where you can still, doodle and highlight and all those things, go ahead and do that. Now, I also did a video. My kids helped me. It includes puppets, where I just read Hard Times. So if staring at a computer screens too much, you don't even have to look at my face or my kids' puppets. You can just turn it on and turn the screen another direction and listen. Okay? There's probably versions online with better speaking voices than I do, but I just wanted to give you guys options. Okay, so you read it, or you listen to it, or you watch it, or you do a combination, and then there's some questions. Okay, and it gives you the little rubric of how you get a 1 through 4, and I average them together. It's one classwork assignment. Most of you guys have been doing great. One classwork assignment. If you're really overwhelmed, please don't stress. Let me know. We can modify it. We can do whatever. For Block 7, it's due Friday. I will be honest. You guys know over the weekend, I'm going to be looking at projects. I'm not going to grade this until Monday. So if you just say, like, you know what, I'm going to finish this up Saturday. All right. We all need to do what we need to do right now. And I'm totally understanding of that. The April project is due today. That shouldn't be too demanding of a project, right? You fill out a Google Doc, you create a slide. Most of you have done that already. So thank you. That's probably nice for you to know that that's already off your shoulders. And it makes me know that you guys are on top of things. So don't forget about that. If you have questions, I'll be responding to emails. I only have like one thing I need to do for like 2 hours this morning, but then back around 11, I'll be responding to emails. So if you don't hear from me right away, that's why. Also, the NPR podcast is due today. I don't believe anyone in Block 7 signed up for that. If you had like some like big urge to create a podcast this morning, let me know soon because I have to submit those today. Also, the Thomas Edison contest is due today, but I don't believe anyone in Block 7 did that either. So you guys should be fine. Okay. So as we conclude National Poetry Month, here's 2 examples from students from blocks 4, 6, and 7. I don't have the spreadsheet popped up, so I can't check the name who did it. This student did awesome, and if you see here, choose to do the screencast of them reading it, but I had to request access this morning, so I can always show it again later. But you see about the theme here, the connection with children staying at home like you guys are right now. And then another one, and please forgive me, you guys don't have your names on it, but I want to give you credit for doing this. Another poem by John Crow Ransom called Winter Remembered. And I guess remembering that winter is when this coronavirus really began to emerge. I find the line interesting, wash my wound in the snows, because we're all concerned about washing our hands and all that stuff. So good job for the 2 students who did those 2. All right, any questions? Let me know. If you don't check in tomorrow, please have a great weekend, as great as it can be in these conditions. State parks open today, so and county parks, if you have access to one near your homes, remember you still have to be socially distanced and take precautions, but maybe you guys can enjoy them. Sunday's supposed to have nicer weather. I know, enough of this rain, right? All right, so I miss you guys. Hope everything's well. Keep me updated on anything, whether it's school related or something else you just want to share, something you've been doing, something you're proud of, something you're concerned about. And I'll talk to you soon. Okay, stay safe and be well. Peace.